Hello, and welcome to today's webinar, Convert Website Visitors and Drive Sales Results. My name is Monique Ruiz, a Senior Marketing Manager here at Claritas, and I'm excited to be your host for today's presentation. Our fantastic speakers are two Claritas veterans, Tammy Hunsucker, Senior Director of Product Strategy, and Suzanne Eller, Director of Product Strategy. Tammy is an experienced product leader with a demonstrated history of working in data, digital, and software product strategy, and she's been with Claritas for many years. She's currently focused on key initiatives and product solutions blending core Claritas data assets with marketing technology and acquired solutions to meet the ever-evolving needs of the marketplace. Suzanne has been with Claritas for many years as well, first in analytics, sales, and client service roles, and more recently managing the development and launch of our Prism Premier segmentation system and custom segmentation capabilities. In her current role as a product strategy director, she manages the implementation and launch of new Claritas data and solutions, including many of our recent acquired solutions. Before we dive into the content that Tammy and Suzanne will share today, I want to make sure everyone knows how to get the most out of today through your participation. This webinar is being recorded, and we will make sure that everyone is emailed a link to the recording within 24 to 48 hours post-event, so you can refer back to the content at your convenience. Now, on your screen, you'll see a few options to help you participate and enjoy the content of this webinar, like the control panel that allowed you to choose your audio when logging in today. You should be able to change it at any point by selecting your preferred option from the available drop-down menu. You'll also notice a handout section on your personal control panel. This is where we provide additional complimentary content just for you. You can think of it as our thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule this holiday season to join us today. Feel free to download it and save these at any point during today's presentation. If you enjoy what you hear, we would love it if you were to share that with the world using the hashtag #ClaritasWebinars on your social media. Lastly, perhaps the most important piece on your screen is the questions box. This is how you actively participate with us. We welcome and encourage questions you have to be submitted through here. Only we as your presenters will be able to see the questions or comments you provide. We always do our best to answer as many as we can at the end of the presentation, but if we don't get to yours for whatever reason, we will follow up with you to answer in the days after the webinar concludes. Jumping into the agenda for today, we're starting up with our introduction of speakers, plus we have a poll question coming up. When I pass the reins over to Suzanne, she will go into a case study scenario that will be the basis of the story today, so you can get a better sense of our data in action. Then we'll hop into the meat of the presentation by either introducing or reintroducing to some of you the concept of a closed loop approach to marketing. First, you'll learn how to identify your best customers, and in this case, we'll again be using that case study example. Next, you'll find out how to deliver customers when and where they want to be engaged. And for the final step of that closed loop process I just mentioned, we'll show you how to optimize engagements with precision in near real time. Finally, what I'm sure you're all most excited for are the two special offers we're revealing for the first time ever. You'll have to wait until the end to hear what they are, but I can share that these offers have a retail value of about $6,000, so you definitely don't want to miss out. So to kick off, let's go ahead and start with a poll question. You'll see a box pop up on the screen in just a minute with a question of, on average, what percentage of website visitors are anonymous? There's no prize or penalty for a right or wrong answer, but we want to get a sense of what people assume, especially in today's digital world. And what we mean by anonymous website visitors is someone who goes to your website to browse, but does not leave a digital footprint in the form of a purchase or adding themselves to a subscription list, et cetera, et cetera. So I'll give everyone a few seconds to go ahead and choose the answer you think is correct. And I'll close the poll. And let's share the responses here. All right, it looks like About 57% of you selected 90%, about 27% of you selected 40%, 11% selected 15%, and 5% selected 5%. So the majority of you think 90% is the correct answer. And for those of you that didn't choose 90%, the answer may surprise you, but nearly 90% of website visitors are anonymous. These anonymous visitors provide some of the highest potential value to be your customers, but they're leaving your website without you capturing their information for retargeting efforts. Now, imagine how many potential dollars that equates to being left for a competitor to take out of your company's pocket because you were unable to de-anonymize them properly. I'm going to go ahead and pass the presentation over to Suzanne now, and she's going to give you a better sense of how to make sure you're making the most out of your website and gaining some of that market share back.
Thanks, Monique, and thanks to all of you for taking time out of your busy schedules to join us today. I know for some of you, this may be your first introduction to Claritas. For others, it may be an introduction to some of our new capabilities. Helping our clients identify their best customers has long been a key strength of Claritas. With the development of our Claritas Identity Graph, we can now link our wealth of offline behaviors and characteristics with a household or individual's online behaviors and preferences, helping you to better understand how and when to best engage with those we identify as your best customers and prospects. We now offer multi-channel campaign execution and can help you optimize your efforts based on robust campaign measurement options. So to those of you who are joining us for the first time, welcome. And for those of you who've been with us through the years, we're excited to offer you some new ways to find new opportunity. We hope to help you all find new ways to engage with your website visitors. Central to tying customers' offline and online information and profiles together is Claritas's proprietary identity graph. We can identify and personify those on your CRM files and prospect lists using our Claritas segmentation systems, our wealth of behavioral profile data, and we're now able to leverage those same assets to do the same for your anonymous website visitors. We can then help you deliver messaging to your best customers and prospects and to optimize your efforts and boost ROI through campaign measurement. You'll hear more about those steps from Tammy later in the presentation. To illustrate what the process can look like, during today's presentation, we'll use the example of a luxury resort client, Holiday Resorts. They came to us with two goals in mind. One, they wanted to have a better picture of the people coming to their website. And two, they wanted to target frequent travelers with potential interest in their properties. This was a perfect match with our identify and deliver solutions with the potential for later optimization of their future campaigns. As the first step in the process, we wanted to dig deeper into Holiday Resorts' pool of prospects. They have been a Claritas client for several years and have successfully leveraged our Prism segmentation to profile their existing customers and to market to similar households. But they wanted to find more potential prospects. We suggested that they tap into their anonymous website visitors. They knew from their internal stats that many visitors only browse their site and never book to stay. By leveraging Claritas's Identity Graph and Audience Anywhere platform, they were able to personify that unknown population. Holiday Resorts signed on to license our Audience Anywhere platform. Using the platform, they created a pixel that they then placed on their website. Claritas then matched incoming traffic to their site with our identity graph to resolve visitors to a specific household and begin to personify them. The Audience Anywhere platform serves as the hub for identifying and engaging with your customers. You can monitor traffic volumes, explore the geographic and demographic characteristics of your visitors, and identify and create audiences around those that are revealed to be your best prospects. These are just a few examples of the characteristics displayed within the Insights module of Audience Anywhere. You can see when your traffic is heaviest, detail on where your visitors are located, what they look like in terms of demographics like age and income, and their highest ranking behavioral characteristics. All of this detail and more can be viewed by varying time periods, the last 24 hours, the last 7 days, the last 30 days, and can be specific to different pages within your website. Holiday Resorts was able to see what a visitor to their Cancun resort page looked like as compared to those exploring their Tortola page. You can also view your website visitors through the lens of Claritas segmentation. Here we can see that the top Prism segments visiting the Holiday Resorts website were segments 3 and 2 with the index bars on the left, movers and shakers and network neighbors. But the key finding for Holiday Resorts was the fact that segment 4, Young Digerati, was also a top visitor to their site. Based on their existing customer profiles, they didn't really think of Young Digerati as a top segment. But with this new finding, they were able to add Young Digerati into their promotional efforts and create a new promotion specific with a discount to Young Digerati to help incentivize them. By combining all that you've learned about your web traffic, you can begin to filter and create audiences specific to each of your unique brands, or in the case of Holiday Resorts, each of their resort locations. With custom audiences defined, you'll be ready to move on to the deliver phase of the process. And to tell you more about that, I'll pass the presentation over to Tammy.
Thanks, Suzanne. Now that we've identified the best prospects for Holiday Resorts, it's now time to put our knowledge to work. As Susanna mentioned, using the Claritas closed loop framework, we can help you to identify your best customers, deliver the right message to them through the right channels, and optimize your campaigns to ensure maximum return on investment of your marketing dollars. In the deliver phase, we turn our focus to reaching those key audiences that we have identified for Holiday Resorts. As you recall, we identified the anonymous visitors to the Holiday Resorts website by key Prism Premier segment through resolution to the Claritas graph. One of those segments was network neighbors, as you can see here. Using the graph, we found more network neighbor prospective households that we could reach across multiple channels. For Holiday Resorts, we focused on email, social, and display campaigns that were executed by Claritas Managed Services. Alternatively, we could have provided target audiences for direct use by the client in their direct mail campaigns or any social or digital platform of choice. Within the Audience Anywhere platform, clients can create custom audiences for use in campaign execution or for onboarding. For Holiday Resorts, the key Prism Premier segments are shown that are selected for use in their campaign execution. Within the platform, we can also obtain estimated reach estimates by channel for our custom audiences. As circled, we can reach 18 million prospects by email and 20 million prospects by social display nationally for Holiday Resorts. Additionally, within this audience module, we can apply additional filters such as geographic constraints, demographics, financial behaviors, lifestyle preferences, and other attributes to create your own custom audiences. We then launched the email, social, and display campaigns and delivered our results for the Audience Anywhere platform. Once the campaigns were live, the client then logged into the tool and reviewed the results in flight, and then they were able to work with the Claritas consultants to make campaign adjustments. As shown here, the Holiday Resorts campaign was experiencing less success with social, and therefore reallocation of campaign resources were made mid-flight of the campaign by increasing volumes for email and display and reducing volumes for social. Within the Audience Anywhere module, we can deeper dive into each channel to understand specifics. This view shows campaign results for email, such as open and click-through rates for a given duration. Within this view, we can change the look-back window duration from yesterday, today, last 7 days, last 30 days, or we can look at the whole life of the campaign. We can also change the view to display only the metrics associated with a specific target group. As you can see here, we could have selected network neighbors or upper crust or movers and shakers for all the metrics. This allows you to monitor the campaign in flight and determine any adjustments that may be needed to ensure campaign success. Within this next view, we deeper dive to understand the details on the display campaign, such as impressions and engagements, looking at it day by day throughout the life of the campaign. Again, we can review these metrics by a specific look-back window or a specific target audience group, as well as monitor the results to determine if there are any mid-flight adjustments we want to make to the campaign to ensure success. Once this initial phase of campaign had completed, we are now turning our focus to optimization. As we've discussed, the Claritas closed loop framework drives marketing effectiveness by identifying the best prospects, delivering the right message to the right channels, and then tracking and measuring for optimal results to maximize the return on your marketing efforts. Using Claritas technology combined with the Claritas graph, we can connect exposures and conversions across multiple channels, both online as well as offline. This allows us to measure campaign effectiveness and make adjustments to your audiences, your creatives, your channels, and your platforms to achieve the optimal results. As we all know, consumers today encounter multiple touch points with advertising. In this cross-device, cross-channel environment, it is critical to consider the impact that various media exposures and their attribution to conversions. Some exposures may be directly attributable, as shown here with 45% of conversions directly attributable to display advertising, while there are other paths to purchase that require multiple touch points to remind the consumer and ultimately have the consumer react in a conversion. As shown, an additional 38% of conversions involved exposure to display advertising. However, the exposure to display advertising attributed to the conversion was not directly responsible and required multiple touch points across multiple channels to get the consumer to act. In addition, one path purchase involving display required exposure to display advertising via the mobile device as well as exposure to display advertising via desktop. In these examples, we see multiple paths of purchase as well as contribution to display advertising had on the overall campaign success. In addition to considering attribution of various channels to the overall consumer purchase journey, we also recommend you consider the impact a specific channel has to a campaign. This can be viewed by channel as shown as an example for display advertising. As we can see here, there was 11% lift in bookings and $229,000 in incremental revenue that would not have occurred without the display campaign component. While we understand campaign metrics of attribution and lift by channel are valuable for future campaign decisions, we can also tie these results back to the initial key audience targets to determine your most effective prospect groups. As shown here, targets 1 and 4 that were used in the campaign were efficient for display, while additional Prism Premier segments like Money and Brains and Winner's Circle should also be considered for similar campaigns in the future. As a final example, we can measure across channels for campaign impact, as well as consider that the top consumer segments in one channel may vary to another channel. As shown, Money and Brains and Upper Crust ranked highest for display engagement, while Urban Achievers and Young Digerati are the most likely to respond to email messaging. These learnings can then be applied to optimize for future campaigns. To recap, we worked with an upscale resort property to identify their best prospects by identifying anonymous website visitors through the lens of Prism Premier. We executed email, social, and display campaigns with mid-flight adjustments based on in-flight campaign results. We determined the most optimal channel and the lift and incremental revenue impact that resulted from display advertising. And finally, we identified the most efficient segments by channel for focus in future campaigns. In closing, we'd like to thank you today for joining us. As part of our thanks, we have a special offer for webinar attendees. We are so confident in these capabilities that we're offering a free 3-month professional tier subscription to the Audience Anywhere platform when you sign up for one of the package offers. This subscription will allow you to identify anonymous website visitors through the lens of Claritas segmentation and then use these insights to create prospective audiences for upcoming campaigns. Package 1, as you can see here, provides the 3 free month subscription to Audience Anywhere with a discounted email campaign execution. Package 2 provides a free 3-month subscription to Audience Anywhere platform with discounted email campaign execution as well as discounted lift report to measure the success of the campaign. To learn more or request a live demonstration of the Audience Anywhere platform, please go to the URL posted below for additional details. Also, please reach out to your Claritas sales contact to schedule time to learn more about our capabilities and how we can help you to make more effective use of your marketing dollars. Thank you so much for attending. And now back to you, Monique.
All right. Before we get to any questions that have come in, let's go ahead and go over what's next for you now that you've heard our presenters speak. First, you'll want to make sure you've downloaded any handouts in your personal control panel. I think we've put about 5 in there. So you want to download those just to make sure you have some of those extra materials we're providing for free at your fingertips. Next, you'll want to request a free demo of our Audience Anywhere platform, which you've just seen a sneak peek of today. And finally, you'll want to sign up for that trial offer we've been talking about. You can request the demo or move forward with the offer by navigating to the link on your screen, which we've also just put in the chat box as well. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get into the questions that have come in throughout the presentation. We have several good ones here. First question, Suzanne, I think this one's going to be for you. Are the solutions that you went over today CCPA compliant?
CCPA, I was kind of expecting a question on that. It's a hot topic right now. I think we've got, about 3 weeks before that becomes active. So for those of you who don't know the acronym, it's the California Consumer Privacy Act. And in terms of the pixels and the tracking of web visitors, we currently have terms and conditions around the use of the pixels in our agreements. And so as a licensee, you would be required to display your privacy policies and data collection policies. That's in our terms, that if you're using the pixel, you have to make that known to visitors to your website. So I think we've all sort of become accustomed to those pop-ups when we visit a new site. So that's a lot of that's in response to the CCPA. So you get a little pop-up when you go to a new site, and it tells you that the site uses cookies, and it links you to a summary of their privacy policies. So that's something that is a requirement when you're using one of our pixels. And then in addition to that, specific to California and the CCPA, we'll be launching a webpage that details the data that's collected. Those are some of the requirements that you be able to see and know what's been collected about you, how it's used, and give you the opportunity to opt out. So that'll be available to California residents in time for the January 1st implementation of CCPA. And then on the delivery side, all of our email campaigns include what we call the permission pass process, where recipients are given the chance to opt out of receiving offers prior to the start of a campaign. So they get a quick email that says that they would be receiving or would they like to receive offers from a specific merchant or retailer, supplier, and they can choose to opt out at that time. So that gives us a chance to confirm that the emails are active, and then also give the recipients the opportunity to opt out from our campaign execution.
Okay. And another question we have, you said you can track every page in my domain. Do I need to put a tag on every page?
No, so the pixel or the tag will collect information for the entire domain. So if you had more than one domain or .com that you wanted to track, you would need an extra pixel or an extra tag. But within a single domain, we can track the traffic across the different pages. So when you go in and you into the Audience Anywhere platform, and you can see the details, the traffic details that I had some screenshots for, you can actually, it gives you a list of pages, and you can switch from page to page and see the traffic and the details, the characteristics of the people visiting each page.
How do you handle invalid traffic or bots?
Another excellent question. Again, for those characteristics and the summary that you see within the platform, we've filtered out any international traffic, any bots, and then any other traffic that we're unable to resolve to a specific household identity. So obviously, if we can't resolve the identity, then we can't tell you how old they are. We can't link to the other data that allows us to sort of personify those visitors. And then for the metrics and the campaign measurement that Tammy spoke of, we're filtering those out before we do any of those calculations as well. So they're not included in the totals for campaign measurement.
Okay, we've got a few more questions. What channels are available for campaign lift reports?
Hi, Monique. I can answer that.
Okay.
So we can take a look at direct mail. We can do digital, both for mobile, desktop. We can do out of home, podcast, over the top, email. Basically, any place where we have an exposure or conversion data that we can match to our graph, we can use that in the analysis.
Okay, and let's see here. Do you provide the creative for campaigns?
We provide contextual information, as you saw with the network neighbors, with upper crust, money and brains, that can help you to inform your creative, but you do need to bring the creative for our use in campaign execution.
All right, and can we examine exposures by device type?
For display, yes. Really, any conversion that requires click-throughs, we can take a look at the device level. And as you saw in the slides where I was talking about the path for purchase, I mentioned display advertising via mobile versus display advertising via desktop.
Okay, I've got a couple more questions that I'll ask, but I want to make sure we don't have too long of a Q&A session. So
Sure.
let's get to a couple more here. I have an agency that does my campaigns. Do I need Claritas to do the onboarding?
While that's not part of the offer today, we really focused on Claritas in terms of what we can do from an execution standpoint. We do offer onboarding. We can onboard to any platform of your choice for social and digital. We can also provide a direct mail list if interests, an email list if interested.
All right, and can you explain the offer a little bit more? If we're already a Claritas client, can we still take advantage? And what if I want to do direct mail?
Sure. If you're new to the Audience Anywhere platform, we'd love to have you take advantage of the offer and show you and demonstrate sort of what all this tool will give to you and the benefits. You have until the end of this year to act, and then you need to run the campaign by the end of March. And the offer doesn't include direct mail, as well as it doesn't include providing onboard audiences. However, as I mentioned, we can onboard audiences for you for use, and we can certainly provide you lists for direct mail purposes.
Okay, let's get to one more question, and then any other questions that we have in the chat box, we'll follow up with you afterwards. On the offer, it said professional tier. What does that include?
So the Audience Anywhere platform has 3 different tiers. There's basic, standard, and professional. Basic is our free subscription. Standard provides some insights, such through the lens of behavioral and demographics, as well as business data. But the professional tier is really the tier that we think we would be of most interest to folks, where we're actually incorporating Claritas segmentation like Prism Premier, Cycle, Connections, and you can see the lens of things through that view, website visitors through that view, by page or for your full domain.
And Suzanne, if you can click back one slide in the deck, we can, or 2 slides, sorry, you can see the offer one more time for everyone. All right. So as I mentioned at the top of the hour, we do really appreciate all of you that have joined us for today's webinar, and we hope that you've learned a ton of new information and are excited to speak to your Claritas representative about how you can learn even more, or better yet, move forward with one of the special offers that we have on the screen here. And remember, if you have any additional questions, your Claritas representative is probably going to be your best resource for answers. But if there's a few of you that asked a question in the chat box here and we weren't able to get to it live, so we'll go ahead and follow up with you to make sure you get an answer to those. And one last thing, you'll notice a survey pop up on your screen as you leave today. We'd appreciate it if you just took a few moments to provide some feedback so we can make sure that any webinar that we do in the future, we're continually improving upon them. So we're making the most out of your time. And with that, we hope you had a wonderful rest of your holiday season and hope you have a fun-filled New Year's. So we'll see you on the next one. Bye, everyone.